from the beginning, where we remove the top and look down at what we call the bassinet, to the pine box, what we call the coffin. The box, it surely is our past as well as our future. Richard Evans. Mr. Conchester, fellow Toastmasters, I would like to introduce you to the box. Have you ever thought about the box? We hear a lot about it, and as in Richard Evans' quote, we found out that it actually is part of our whole life cycle. We start out on one, we end in one. The box is also the paradigm of structure. It's very orderly. If you look at what we put our filing folders in and other cabinets, they're all in the shape of a box. You pull out the box, you file it. It's order, it's structure. The box is also known about thinking. In fact, some people at one time referred to the brain as the black box. In organizational development, everybody tries to tell you to think outside of the box. Well, what does it mean to think outside of a box? And wouldn't it help to know what was inside the box? To know what we're trying to think outside of? The box is used for surprises. The box changes the shape of everything. Square. You could virtually have any object and put it in here. And it still looks square. It's used in the television shows on Let's Make the Deal. What's in the box? Everything is good. What's in the box? The most interesting thing with the box is thinking beyond the box. The box has been associated with the center of knowledge. If you think about airplanes, they all have what's called a black box. And the black box collects all the flight data, all the recordings of everything that happens in the plane, just in case there's that little faded time, and there should be a misfortune and people would want to find out what happened. So the box is very much associated with knowledge and with thoughts. As we think about the box, some of you are process engineers or into engineering, and sometimes the box represents just the mysteries of things that happen. For instance, when I was younger, I saw you had a box, and inside the box you might take some amino acids, a little bit of water, oxygens, minerals, and outside of the box comes some form of life. A box of mystery, one of the greatest mysteries. You can also have the box is sometimes used whenever the processes are fuzzy and nobody really cares what's happening inside of the box. It's just the little black box. A bunch of stuff comes in, and you have output. Nobody cares what's going on inside. What happens when you're actually thinking in the box? Well, a lot of this speech had to do with research for a book that I'm writing on creative thinking, and to figure out what is inside the box so we can think beyond it. There's about 13 components, narrowed it down to creative thinking, that can be contained inside of our thought boxes. And I'm not going to go into any much detail with just the introduction of them. But by knowing those processes within the box, then we know what we can think beyond, what we can reach for. we have some idea of where to start. The box by itself brings with it, as I said earlier, the idea of structure and constraints. And we, as people, like to put everything in nice little boxes. Most of us spend most of our lives in slightly altered boxes, from our homes to the offices where we work. If you're Dubert and Company, you have little cubicles that you have. Everything has to be nice and organized and structured in that box. And so, what has happened is the box has become square. Everybody thinks, nice square box. But boxes don't have to be square. Have you ever seen a hat box? A lot of times they're round. Basically, a box represents structure, represents boundaries. But let's open up our box and find out, before we live our lives as a full circle, what it is inside that box that we have to think beyond, be creative. Mr. Contest Chair.